211 News at 10.
If you, as a parent, were to put handcuffs on your out-of-control child, you might risk arrest on charges of child endangerment. But New York City cops can do it. They can handcuff your kids at school, but only after following rules and procedures that remain shrouded in mystery. Until now, it's the subject of tonight's Fact Finders report. Here's Peter Thorne. Peter?
Jim, kids handcuffed at school, whenever it happens, it triggers touchy conversations about how much discipline is enough and what is too much. Tonight, we show you the controversial rules that cops here in the city must follow, and parents need to know.
Like it or not, anyone with a TV has grown used to seeing handcuffs used in situations like this or this. But when it comes to cops handcuffing children, it triggers outrage, even anger. When this 5-year-old girl in Florida got handcuffed after having a tantrum at school, it made national news. And when it happened recently here in New York to this 10-year-old girl and this 5-year-old boy, cuffed by cops at school, it revived controversial questions about exactly what the rules are when officers encounter out-of-control kids on school grounds.
And here in New York City, school safety agents, because they are under the direction of the police department, approach issues all too often and are told to approach them as criminal matters.
She calls it criminalizing the classroom.
For weeks after the most recent incidents here in New York, no one in the know was willing to let the public know exactly what the rules are. So parents were left in the dark. Until now, Fact Finders was determined to find out and inform parents all we could about handcuffing students within school facilities. And here's what we discovered.
After NYPD did not respond to Fact Finders' request for an on-camera interview to discuss the rules in detail, Fact Finders tracked down this document, a page from the NYPD patrol guide that explains it all. So parents, here's the rules. Before handcuffing, officers must remove the student to a private location like the principal's office. Inform school personnel of the arrest and the reason for it. If school personnel disagree with the arrest, a patrol supervisor is called. That police supervisor must verify there's probable cause for an arrest, and the child can be handcuffed. If school administrators object, too bad. At this point, school personnel are not permitted to interfere. And that last point is a flashpoint.
One of the issues that we're trying to work with school safety is trying to get some protocols together for other ways to really deal about restraining children who might have behavioral issues. I just know that there's a continued need for PD to get this straight.
It doesn't mean that you should never do it, but it should be rare, it should be exceptional, it should never, ever, ever be a first recourse.
Typically, I would think that most police departments would allow an exemption to be able to transport a 5, 6, 7-year-old without handcuffing. The assumption is under criminal law that at that age they're not even able to form criminal intent.
But Fact Finders has learned department policy is to rear handcuff all prisoners, including students. An officer can decide not to handcuff a student, but must weigh 9 different factors, including these: the officer's safety, safety of the student, possibility of escape, and the age and physical stature of the student. And how to handle a child carrying on like this. Is it ever a good idea to handcuff a child who's misbehaving like this and won't calm down? This child psychologist says,
well, no. It's very hard for me to think of a situation where handcuffing a child would be the best intervention.
I assume that the police aren't particularly worried about being overpowered by the 5-year-old, so the decision to handcuff and secure them as they would other prisoners, I would think, would be pretty questionable.
New York City Schools Chancellor had no comment for this story. So what about parents who think an out-of-control child should be restrained so he or she can't harm others? One move child psychiatrists suggest is to identify children with behavioral problems and do it early so you can provide some closer supervision. Now, if there's a story you want us to look into in depth, tell us at our website, cw11.com/factfinders. And I think the police guys would tell us, had they talked to us, that they do not use handcuffs as a first resort. They use it as a last resort and to protect the safety of all concerned.
But even on a 5-year-old? I mean, what can a 5-year-old do, please?
Anyone in the situation of being under arrest or in front of that police officer, the officer apparently has the discretion to determine what should happen there in the interest of the safety for all concerned.
Peter,
that's a big one.
That's the rule.